Hey guys, welcome back to day number 27 of 119 days of link building. My name's Deepak Shukla, and if you want to get an additional 17 strategies not shared in this training, then click the link in the description below. So as I said, it's Deepak Shukla. I'm the founder of Pearl Lemon. We're an SEO agency based in London and serving clients across the world, basically. So I wanted to talk about the powerful, when properly used, syndication link building. So syndication link building is when your content ultimately gets republished onto other websites. And I want to talk about ultimately how to do this, what it involves, and what you should consider. So fundamentally, you've got guest post link building, which was back on day number 1. And when you're looking and building your list for guest posts, it's also worth finding out, and do go and watch video 1 if you've not, on guest post link building. It's a fantastic video. But basically, when you're doing that outreach, you can also find out if they're open to content being republished on their platform. So basically, you want to, or the strategy involves, it's a little bit like copy paste, in that content that you produce, and you need to be a great writer to have content that's worthy of republication on websites that are actually going to drive some value for you. You want to be a great writer, and you want to ultimately see if sites are open to content being republished. Some sites will state it, and you can just probably search like blogs that republish content. So blogs that republish content, republishing our blog post, republishing 20 places you should be sharing, how to republish our blog post. We could also look at content syndication sites. So you could, so that's one strategy. Sites, let's go sites that accept syndicated content. Yeah, and we'll talk about some of these. So here you go. So content syndication. So fundamentally, it takes your entire blog site and your entire blog post and publishes it on a third-party site. So it's a good way to, in a way, get some additional links, but it does come with some challenges which might make it not a link building strategy potentially, but also a good link building strategy if you look at some adaptations of it. So you might, for example, produce a piece of content, and then you might want to republish it on Medium. So a couple of things come into play here. That one, Medium might outrank you. Okay, Medium or LinkedIn might outrank your content if they deem LinkedIn to be, for example, the more powerful site, which it will be for the most part. The second element to it is that Google might have challenges, depending upon where your content is published, issues around duplicate content, which would ultimately harm your website, certainly if your website's less authoritative than the site that it's being republished on. The way to get around that is to add basically the canonical tag, so that Google, as well as the website, is telling, well, the website's telling Google where the original content exists. So if I just show you, because canonical tag, a canonical tag is a way of telling search engines that a specific URL represents the master copy of a page, prevents problems caused by identical duplicate content appearing on multiple URLs. And fundamentally, that's what you need to do, Z's, to make sure that it points towards the original link. And the original link would be where you originally published the content. Now, that's a pretty good way of telling Google where ultimately the original link is from. However, you don't have the option to do that on LinkedIn or to do that on Medium, and there might be other sites, Quora, that you don't have the option to do that. So in those instances, it's better to provide ultimately direct explicit attribution back to original source, and this is originally published on XYZ, and that way you have less risk of the downside that comes with content syndication. But as you can see, per Googling, there's like a bunch of sites. Quora's good, Medium's good, SlideShare's good, LinkedIn's good, Facebook Business is good, Mix is good. Reddit and SoundCloud are a little bit different. Reddit we don't post on enough, I'll be honest with you. I do know people use Reddit link building very successfully, and we'll come to that. But let's just have a look at their 14. So YouTube, yeah, Zergnet, I don't know Zergnet. SoundCloud, yep. Pinterest, yep. Outbraid, yep. I think you need to add your site though for Outbrain and Taboola. So I don't use them enough, as you can evidently tell. But fundamentally, I think that content syndication can sometimes turn into spam, and or in that if you do it too heavily. Also, if you do it with like a brand new website and you pump content out and then start pumping it immediately onto like, you know, Facebook for Business or LinkedIn or Medium, then that like runs a little bit more risk. But generally speaking, as long as you have a religious the canonical tag, as well as on other sites where you can't add it, direct attribution, you should be okay. Now, the other element to this is ultimately, you know what, we'll build a separate training on that. So that is a good start for syndication link building, and it's definitely something you can do with old blog posts. So aged content is safer to do it with as well. So allow a lag of like 30 to 90 days, I'd say. Some people do it in a week depending upon indexation, but allowing a little bit of a lag is always safer, so Google can see that this content lived somewhere else originally for a while before you slap it up onto another site. But certainly there's companies that have done this successfully. Buffer have their content, I think, regularly published onto several third-party sites like Forbes, Inc., Huffington Post, and you could very well see success from this being on a third-party site and exploding because of the traffic that site gets. So the other option with that also is to no index or ask your third-party host to just basically no index that piece of content, because if you don't want it to appear in the SERPs, but you're just looking for the referral traffic will still help you from a Google perspective, as well as the actual clients it could potentially drive, i.e. the inquiries. So asking them to add a potential no index tag is also another workaround. So it really depends upon the strategy that you're engaging in here. But that is syndication link building.